Hi guys, John Craig here with Performance Plus Tennis. In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play the Federer Backhand slice in 3 easy steps. And I'm also going to compare the modern slice backhand with what we know has been the traditional backhand slice and compare the two and show you how to really get the most out of your slice backhand. So we're going to develop the 3 key principles that are going to help you really develop a professional quality slice backhand. And the irony is that the principles on how to play the shot have not changed at all, but the variations in the slice backhand have changed quite a bit, and we're going to get into those today and show you how to make your slice backhand a very unique shot. Like all great slice backhands, Roger Federer uses a Continental Grip in order to play the shot. So the Continental Grip, quite simply and very quickly, is where you hold the hand on the top of the handle so that you create a straight line from the shoulder to the tip of the racket, and that is what's called a neutral Continental Grip, and that is ideal for playing the slice backhand. So we want to have a slice backhand grip, the Continental Grip, and we want to make a coil. This has never changed. We want to get a good, strong coil to play the shot. And the left hand is a big part of that for me. My left hand, helps me make the grip change, and it helps me rotate and coil my body as a unit to set up and play the shot. Now, the modern slice backhand that you see Roger Federer play, you actually see his racket curl upward. He actually gets a pretty steep angle back here that sets him up for the feeling of coming down on a steep slope to the ball, which we'll get into a little bit later. But historically, the slice backhand has been set up more with the racket strings facing the sky. And I would recommend that if you're developing a slice backhand, this is a great place to start. And the coil is really the setup for the slice backhand. And what you're trying to establish here is a position where you have a nice set or pull from the shoulder. You feel a good little stretch here in the shoulder, which you can pull from, but you're also setting up the form of the arm and the set of the wrist so that you can play the shot through the shoulder. So it's critical that your setup for the slice backhand is specific and that you have excellent control in the setup here between the racket head and the forearm, and you want to maintain that throughout the slice backhand. And for step 2, we're going to talk about the contact point on the slice backhand and really clarify the ideal place to make your contact. So once you've established an excellent preparation and coil to play the slice backhand, the next thing you really need to understand is where the contact point is. And the contact point, ideally for the slice backhand, is going to be further away from you. So I find that I play the slice backhand much more comfortably when I feel like I played with a slight reach or stretch to play the ball. And it's important that the ball is a little bit farther away because that really encourages a strong shoulder turn. So when I'm in my coil, my right shoulder literally feels like it's pointing right to the incoming ball before I release and play the contact and play the swing. So when you're practicing this, practice discovering where your contact point is, and it's generally going to be a little bit further away from you than it would be certainly for a one-handed topspin or a two-handed topspin backhand. And from a side view, the contact point of the slice backhand is going to ideally be alongside of you, where you can see that my contact point is pretty adjacent to my shoulder, my hip, and my foot. Because it's at this point in the swing where my shoulder is still active and can naturally and comfortably pull the racket through contact. So it's a bit of a myth to think you want to make contact out in front, because now my shoulder's at the point where it really can't do anything. And so you really want to play that alongside of you. And one of the great benefits of the slice backhand is you can literally play the ball late, and as long as you have the shoulder engaged, you can fight off balls and be late and still execute a pretty good shot. So critical to know where the contact point is, not only from a distance perspective, but also from a depth perspective. So the feeling you want to have when you play the swing is that the swing is entirely being pulled from the shoulder and controlled from the shoulder, and everything below the shoulder is steady and holding. And then what you want to do is you want to blend together the path the racket takes with the angle the racket takes to produce the trajectory that you're after. So when you're coming down on the ball, if you were to come down and your racket was flat, it would go straight into, it would go downward and go in the net. So you want to have a slightly open racket face, and you want to learn through the process of repetition and experimentation how to blend together the path and the angle to get the desired amount of spin and trajectory that you're after on the shot. Step number 3 is really understanding the feeling of how the swing works to create the control and the power and the effect on the ball. So now that we've established a great preparation with a strong coil and we know where the contact point is, we're gonna delve into what the swing really feels like and how to develop the feeling to play that professional quality slice backhand. So what you want to feel when you're rotated and you're coiled and you're set is that the shoulder is engaged and has a slight stretch in it, so that when you release from the left hand, you can pull the racket into contact. And of course, the preparation on the slice is with a racket up higher than contact, because the path the racket's going to take is slightly downward. And that downward action is going to help impart the backspin on the ball that we're after. So when you get set up, you want to feel like this is well, nice and solid, good form, and you want to maintain that form and make the movement entirely from the shoulder. Okay? And this is oftentimes where players go wrong, is that they don't set this and hold this, so when they come in, they release. And if you release this angle, then that's when you get excessive spin and lose control of the ball. And what I want you to do is what you see almost every single pro do on their slice backhand, is that is they hold their finish. So when you play the slice backhand all the way through, I want you to hold it and control it and feel it at the end, so you know you've maintained the control of the racket head all the way to the end. And if you're watching professionals, watching pros on TV and on YouTube, you'll even see in a dynamic rally in a match where they actually hold the slice backhand finish. And I want you to do the exact same thing. So these fundamental principles have been a component of the slice backhand for many, many years. The fundamental principles have not changed. What has changed, and I think Federer has actually really revolutionized the slice backhand, is he takes a much more aggressive path across the ball so that he can get the ball to break and travel off of a straight line. So we see him doing this, and we've seen a lot of other players now start to do this. Instead of finishing more forward and through the slice and hitting what would be considered a pure underspin shot, you're seeing the racket path take a movement across the ball and finishing off to the side. And the players are carving the ball much better than they used to. I think strings have a lot to do with that. But this across the ball carving effect makes it a little bit trickier to receive that ball, and it really makes the ball sit down on the court. So you can start to implement that. Now, if you want to get that across the ball implementation in there, you're not going to be able to play the ball out in a way where it's classically been played, where I would generally be playing my slice backhand for a straight through. You're going to want to set up to the ball so that it's more in front of you, so you can carve around it and have that action go across the ball. So that's a variation in the basic skill, but I would stick to the fundamental skill first. Make sure you've mastered the clean sweep through the ball, and then you can start to play with the variations. So to recap, there are 3 fundamental principles I want you to develop on the slice backhand after you have the Continental Grip. And those 3 principles are a good, strong coil in preparation, with the left hand really in control of the racket, understanding of where the contact point is to play the fundamental, pure slice backhand, and then what it feels like to actually play the movement and how it really develops from the shoulder and comes down through the ball, and how you want to blend together the path of the racket and the angle of the racket to generate both the spin and the trajectory on the ball. Hope you really enjoyed and benefited from this lesson today. I had a blast making it for you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel here if you've not done so already. Give us a like, leave your comments down below. And while you're here also, we have a special gift for you that's going to help you with your slice backhand and every other shot in the game, and that's access to our free library of lessons on our website. Just click at the link down below in the description and gain access to our library of free lessons. On our website, you'll notice that we also have a VIP membership program to really help you develop all of your skills, and we also have a world-renowned Serve Foundation course that has helped hundreds of players like yourself develop a professional quality serve. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you soon.